Today I will be showing you how I can ground beef and pinto beans. Today I am going to be canning several things. First I'm going to start with this ground beef here. I had gotten 3-pound chubs. That's a 3-pound package of ground beef, 80-20% on sale at Kroger. And I got those for $2 a pound back before Christmas, and I threw them in the freezer because I didn't have time to fool with them. I've never canned ground beef. I know you can do it. I've seen other people do it. I know how to do it. I've just never done it myself. I don't know if we'll like it, so I'm just going to do 3 pounds to start. So this turned out perfect. And I'm not going to put any seasoning in this because from everything I've read and everything everyone's told me, they use beef broth instead of just plain water when they can their ground beef to make it taste better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make up some weak beef broths from some beef bouillon paste that I have in the refrigerator I need to use up. And that's what I will put on this. So hopefully I will get 3 pints of ground beef from this 3 pounds. Let me get this cooked and then we'll continue on with the process. And I've got this hot now. I've got my handy dandy meat masher here. I've got a spinning pan. And this is an old pot that I use when I do this so I don't destroy my good non-stick pans with the meat masher because it does have a sharp edge on it. I think my son ordered this for me off of Amazon years ago. I love this thing. Alright, well, this is hard to do one-handed. Let me continue cooking this. Again, I'm not putting any seasonings in this. I'm just going to put diluted beef broth in here. And then later on we'll try it and see how we like it. And this is coming along very nicely. It's almost done. You don't want to overcook this because it's going to be canned from everything I've read and everything everyone's told me. So we just want to cook it until the pink is gone because it will process for 75 minutes in the canner. Whee! Spinning pan. Okay, let me get back at it because we're close to the pink being gone and I don't want to overcook this. Okay, that happened really fast. I couldn't show you that it was done. It went from pink to brown in like a matter of seconds. Of course, I cook on high heat because I don't want to be in here all day. All right, so I am letting the grease drip off of here. And this is what we've got down here in the bowl. I've got my good metal colander that'll hold all 3 pounds and handle the heat from this meat. I want this to cool down though because I'm going to do a cool canner start because I'm also going to put some beans with pork broth and some seasonings also in my canner with this meat because I want to have a full canner. And my canner will hold 7 pints or maybe 8 depending on the size of the jars. And this is only 3 jars and I have got a quart of pork broth that I saved from my pork roast that we made for pulled barbecue pork. So I'm going to use that in my beans to flavor up some beans to can with this hamburger meat. Yay! All right, well, I will see you in a little bit after this cools down somewhat, and I'll show you how we're going to get it in the jars and with the beef broth, and I'll show you the beans that I'm going to can also along with this meat. Because dry beans, Rebel canning method, same process time as the meat. They're actually the same process time whether you soak them or not, and I don't soak my beans. Next, I am going to heat up 2.5 cups of water because my beef bouillon paste is very cold and it will not dissolve in cold water. So I'm going to get this boiling in the microwave. 2.5 cups of water. So I'm going to just use 1 heaping teaspoon of this because I don't want my broth super salty and I don't want it super strong. This is just to keep my ground beef flavor in the meat when I can it. And I've got it over here cooling down. Sorry about the steam blast. I don't want it to dry out. I just need it to cool down and stay moist. So I'll put my lid back on there. That's my old pot. All right. Let me get this going. And then that way this can cool down while that cools down. I probably ought to set that offset. There we go. All right. Let me do this. Okay. 1 heaping teaspoon. It's supposed to be 1 teaspoon per cup of water. I did 2.5. We're going with diluted. And see how it doesn't even, there we go. It came off the spoon. And it won't dissolve in that cold water. Let's go get that microwaved. Okay. I was in the microwave for 2 minutes, and you can see it's still got some pieces down in here floating around. That's why I do this in advance, so it can dissolve. It will slowly dissolve as it sits here in the water. I'll come back and stir it again here in a little bit because my meat's still cooling down right there. Okay, so that happened. I also like to rinse my jars off because while I do store them clean and upside down like this in a box, you know, dust, air particles, if someone in the house was sick, virus germs and so forth. So they were clean. They were in their flats just like this upside down. But I still like to rinse them off very thoroughly with super hot water, and that's what I've done. So now they're just hanging out here on the rack drying. I've got 4 wide mouths to accommodate that meat just in case. And I've got 6 regular mouths for my beans. This is my pork broth. What I did is I put this in the jar piping hot, slapped on a fresh seal and a ring, and I let that cool down, and within minutes of me having done that, the seal popped. I don't recommend this to put it on the shelf. I don't recommend it for long-term storage. However, it will keep this pork broth that's turned to a jelly now. I pulled the fat layer off the top. There was quite a bit of fat because that was a pork roast. But anyway, I know that this will prolong the life of it beyond 3 days. I've already smelled it. I've already tasted it with the fat plug on top, sealing in the broth underneath. With it having pinged and pulled down this seal, I know it was airtight. And my fat layer was almost up to the top. So that was a full jar, and it's been in the fridge for about a week, and it's just fine. And I put it at the back of my fridge where it's super cold on the top shelf. So I am going to let this come to room temperature. I've already tasted it. It's a little salty. So this will also get diluted down with water, and I'm going to add my seasonings to it that I use with my pinto beans when I make pinto beans to can. And there's the dry beans. So when I'm ready and I know how many jars of meat I have, then I'll know how many jars of beans I can put in my canner. Then I'll know how many beans to measure out. But that's what we've got going on here today. Ground beef going in the canner, 3 pounds. And my pork broth that was seasoned with Western Atkins seasoning and pinto beans. That'll be the first canner load for the new year, January 2023. I'll be back when all this is ready to start putting it in the jars and show you. Probably be a second for you and an hour for me. All right, my canner requires to have 3 quarts of water in it, so that's what I've got, and it's cool water, room temperature, because I am starting everything off cool today. Yay! My meat is cooled down enough now. I can put my fingers in there. It is not hot. My broth is cooled off. I've got my 3 wide mouth jars here. Possibly 4 if I need it. But I'm hoping that 3 pounds goes into 3 jars. Alright, so let's get this process started. Get that meat in there. Looks like, about a cup and a half. And we don't want to come above that 1-inch headspace. But I also want to make sure that I have 3 jars of meat. So let me do the switcheroo. I'm going to get a little bit closer here so I don't get meat all over the place. Alright, let's get a scoop of meat. Whoa! Doing this one-handed, y'all. I've never canned one-handed before. Give it a little bit more. Alright, that one. And I'm going to call him over here. I might be able to do 3 pounds in 4 jars. We'll find out. And I am not packing this down tight. These jars will just be for meals for my husband and I. I don't know. I'm following my gut instincts, and my gut instincts say don't pack this down. All right, I need both hands. Let me finish getting these jars to the 1-inch headspace, and then we'll add that beef broth there. Be right back. All righty. 3-pound chub of ground beef, 80/20, gave me 4 1-pint jars, wide mouths. Soak your lids. I say it over and over and over again. If you've been having failed seals with the new lids, soak your lids. They lie. The box lies. Soak your lids, please. All right, I hope I said that enough times. And the beef broth. Here we go. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. I'll do one to show you. Maybe. We'll see here how I can do this. I should probably have, like, another set of hands, because you only want that to come up to the 1-inch headspace. How am I doing, guys? Am I doing good? Can you see what's going on? Well, I'm not at the 1-inch headspace yet. And then I will have to debubble these, which again is a 2-hand process. But if you're canning, you should already have read, studied, watched, know about debubbling. All right, I'm gonna say it's good. I'm gonna get a debubbler. Yeah, you guys are gonna laugh. I use a plastic spoon to debubble with, or a knife. Yeah, just a little plastic knife. This will work. Yep, and that's what I use to debubble. You just want to get down there, make sure all the air bubbles out. Go around the side of your jar. I really have got to get a different setup this year to record. All right, let me get these other 3. Oh, I see an air bubble right there. There we go. Got rid of him. Okay, let me get these all filled with this beef broth to the 1-inch headspace. I hope I made enough. And then I'll get the lids and rings on, and we'll put these in the canner. And now I know that I need to make up 3 or 4 jars of beans. Guys, 2.5 cups of broth only filled 3 of my jars. I still have this guy that needs some liquid. So I had some hickory smoked barbecue sauce left. I put some water in the bottle, shook it up really good, and I'm guessing that on average I needed about 3 1/4 cups of liquid. I'm gonna put this in this guy right here. Yes, we are. I've stirred this up really, really good. There's no lumps. It is nice and smooth. I'll make a jar of barbecue hamburger, or barbecue sloppy joes. Whoa, the liquid doesn't want to go down. It's way thicker than the broth. Whoopsies. Okay. I'm going to get this in here, and if I need more liquid, I'll just add water. It'll be okay. It's going to cook all through in here anyway. See how it's not. Yeah, I'm a one-handed operator here. I need a different situation. Okay, anyway, let me work on this. I gotta get all this in this jar. Be right back. That little jar of barbecue meat was so stubborn. I had to dump it out, put it in a bowl, stir it up, and then pour it back in there. And then I kept getting bubbles, air spaces on the bottom of my jar. But anyway, I'm finally done doing that. I don't know if I'd do barbecue beef again because it was just a pain in my neck. But okay, we got that done. And this jar was so messy. I got a clean washcloth, kitchen washcloth, and wiped that all down because that was a disaster. Anyway, it's clean and ready to have the vinegar on all 4 rims. So here we go. We're gonna wipe down all 4 rims with the vinegar. And then we're gonna get the lids on. Yes. Don't dunk it in the meat, Valerie. Seriously, it's one of those days. It's Sunday, but it feels like a Monday. I don't know why. It's been a Monday all day, ever since I got up. Anybody else had a Monday on a Sunday? That's just not fair. Okay, hang on a minute, and I'm gonna get another clean paper towel with some vinegar. I use both hands. That's why I didn't record me doing the vinegar on these again, but these are spotless. I made sure I got lots of vinegar on those. All right, now we're gonna put our lids on. Plink, there's 1. There's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. And wait a minute, one of these was a ball jar. And I just put the... Yeah, because this ball jar is a pain in my neck. I have to use ball lids on my ball jar. That bunch of... Yeah, some of these are just finicky, I'm telling you. And I know my jars and I know my lids now. Okay, let me get the rings on. And this one, I'm going to tap the lid here before I put the ring on. And I'm going to put barbecue on that so that I know that was barbecue beef. All right, I'll be right back and show you putting these in the canner. Okay, so that you can see what I've done here. And remember, cold canner, cold product. All right, I've got my 4 pints, wide mouth pints of ground beef sitting right here. I'm also going to take my pork broth now and add dry beans into these jars and put them in here. I use regular mouth jars for beans. So I have determined by putting these in here that I can get 5 regular mouth jars in here. And they're floating because there's water in them. I put water in a couple just to get them to sit in there so I could see for sure. But yeah, so we're going to do 5 regular mouth jars of pork broth and beans. And then I've got the 4 of the ground beef. So that'll be 9 jars in this load. That will be awesome. 9 jars of food to put on my shelf for my family. Okay, let me get my broth diluted down, and I know now that I need, okay, I do half a cup of beans per jar, so I need 1 cup, 2 cups, 2.5 cups of dried beans. I'm going to get them rinsed off real quick and get them in these jars, and then I'll do my broth. Okay, over here on low heat, I've got it on 2, because I don't want this broth to get hot. I just want it to blend together. I put my 1 quart of pork broth in here and 1 quart of water, because like I said, it was very salty, and I don't want my beans to be too salty. And I just kind of know that 1 quart of salted broth with 1 quart of water will be perfect on my beans. So I've got that slightly heating up so that the gelatin broth that was in that quart jar will melt and blend in with the water. Here I have 2.5 cups of beans. I've sorted through them. This is what I've pulled off is broken pieces, and there was actually a rock in my beans. A little tiny stone. This is why you sort your beans. And there was a couple that just didn't look right. So, these are clean, beautiful, gone through. Well, every here and there, there's a little piece, but he goes clear down to the bottom of the bowl, and he's a pain to get out. But for the most part, these have been, you know, they've been picked through. They've been sorted. They look fabulous, and I'm happy with that. So, I'm going to rinse these off really quick and get them in these 5 jars. Be right back. Half a cup of dry beans per jar. Okay, 5 beautiful jars. Each one has half a cup of rinsed pinto beans. And I rinsed those until the water ran clear. And here's my broth. It's still cool, but it has all come together with the water. I taste tested it, and that is perfect. I think this is going to make some awesome tasting pinto beans. I can't wait to try these this week with some cornbread. I think they're going to be delicious. Okay, let me start getting this broth in here. And we want to just go to the 1-inch headspace. And yeah, I'm gonna have a mess again. Messy but good cook. We know this about Valerie. Let me do this off camera. I'll show you when I've got the broth in. But you guys get the idea. Okay, 4 of them got the pork broth. Full strength. This little guy, my broth only came up to about here. So I had to finish adding with water. And you can tell because it's much lighter color. But I am still going to write on the lid because I want to know what it tasted like full strength. And then me having to dilute it even further. Let me wipe these rings, the rims down with some vinegar. Get the lids and rings on. And let me get these going in the canner. I'm starting to get tired. Oh, you see how that bean's floating? He's no good. Get him out of there. Bye-bye. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else knows that or not. But do a float test in your jars. Just watch them for a minute. And if anybody floats, get rid of them. That's a bad bean. Okay, vinegar on the rims. And then lids and rings. Be right back. Oh my goodness. Thank gosh. This is done. Okay. Barbecue. I don't know if you can see that. That's the barbecue beef I've written on the top of him. These are the plain ground beef. These 2 are the full broth. These 2 are the full broth. And this guy I marked 1/2 because that's half broth, half water. And he got a different kind of lid too. So that will help me to remember. Plus the lighter color. Okay, I have got to get this lid on here and get these going. It's already 4:30. This is cutting into chores time too. Okay, get the lid on. Bring it to steaming. Let the vent pipe steam for 10 minutes. Then add your weight. And then when your weight and your pressure is correct, for me, I just have a rocker. This is my rocker. It just rocks. I don't have an actual weighted pressure gauge. So for me, when that starts rocking, then I will set my timer for 75 minutes. Beans and meat, pint-sized jars, are all 75 minutes. Let me get this party started. I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like later on. Here we go. My hubby's taking the jars out for me. There's a hamburger in beef broth. Beautiful. There's some pinto beans in the pork broth with seasoning. And we've got another beans. There's the barbecue hamburger meat. Oh, that looks good. That'll be a fast, quick, easy meal for us, huh, honey? Slap that on some hamburger buns and maybe make some tater tots or french fries. Ooh, careful. Another hamburger. And I didn't tightly pack that meat either. I left it loose so it wasn't like one great big huge chunk of meat. That way it'll definitely be loose meat. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm fighting a sore throat. Ooh, you're too far down on the jar, maybe? No? You're stronger than me. I can't go that far down. I have to go up higher. Lots of beans, but that's okay because we saved that pork broth. It didn't go in the freezer and it didn't go down the drain. It went into these beans and seasoned them up nice. So we've got that broth, which has protein in it from the meat, and a little tiny bit of meat fat because there's no getting all of the fat out of the broth. So that's good eats right there. We can have that beans on top of rice, or we can have it on cornbread. That's a main meal right there. Maybe have a sausage dog or something with them. That'll be good eats. Or even on top of some chips for like some bean nachos. But there you have it. 4 hamburger meats, 1 of them barbecue, and 5 pints of beans in my pork broth that was seasoned. Save your broth. Don't throw it out. This is a wonderful way to use it up. I love using my meat broths to can my beans. It gives them wonderful flavor and extra added protein. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and you'll see another canning episode next week. This has been part of the 365 jars challenge. And we're going to try and get 365 jars on the shelf this year. That's an average of 7 a week. And I got to jump on it today. I've got 9, so I'm 2 to the good. Y'all take care. Thanks for watching. Love y'all. God bless.